It's 5 o'clock. Have I got the date wrong again?
No, I was here, but then the audio wasn't picking up from OBS, so I had to drop out, restart Discord,
All right.
and then come back. And I'm like,
Oh, have you
why?
been having that shit too?
Yes.
Because like I've been recording and it'll just like randomly stop my audio and shit like that. I gave up and went back to OBS 28 and it seems fine now.
Well, it's. I mean, I just updated to 29 this morning, but I
Oh
was having
Jesus!
the Discord issue before. So I'd be playing with my buddy PUBG or War Tales, and I go to sign on, and Discord's not picking up my shit. It's like the red bar appears on top. Oh, we can't fucking hear you. I'm like, well, fuck off. So I have to restart
What do you
that
want me to
shit.
do? Deep throat the goddamn mic?
I know, right?
That'd be a bit difficult with mine actually.
We are streaming, by the way. Not that I care. I give zero fucks.
You knew what you signed up for when you asked me on. It's your own fucking fault.
Oh, I don't give a shit. I love it.
We're not monetized.
We are not. And if we were, I wouldn't change.
I am on YouTube, but I think if I put this on YouTube, that shit would get clapped hard.
Well, this is on YouTube, just on our channel, not yours.
Yeah, well, never mind.
With no ads on there, so it's all good.
Yeah, no. And it's marked at not safe for work and children. Because one, I have a tendency of bashing Madmall, and two, I drop F-bombs probably as much as you do.
I always bash Mad Mole. He deserves it.
Oh, he's like a fucking squirrel with a nut. Pretty! Oh, code? No, fuck code. Pretty! Pretty! Fucking on my nerves.
I don't think I remember the last time I seen him post on the forums. It's been a while.
Probably scared.
Yeah,
Guppy
probably
might
get
have.
absolutely decimated if he did.
Yeah, Guppy would probably come after him.
You want to do what with water?
Hey, they might have actually fixed Twitter. I don't know. We'll find out in 821.
They're still working on it.
All right. I guess we can get the show started at this point. It's already like 6 after. So, this week or month or I don't even know. I'm still tired. We have Khaine from the infamous Darkness Falls.
Or you.
What's that?
I said, poor you.
Nah, not really. It could be worse. We could have like TSBX on here or something.
Oh God.
He did pop in for Guppy's show a few months back.
He's a good dude.
He is. He puts up with us, so I mean, gotta say something. So, because I'm lazy like yourself and didn't prepare questions ahead of time, we're gonna go off the top of my head. I do know there might be one or two floating around in the questions channel thread that Karma created. I don't know how many there is, but so what alpha did you start playing 7 days?
Do you mean boot it up and die horribly or actually play?
When you first started with the game, whether you died a billion times, when you first turned it on.
A7.
Woo! That was like 32 years ago at the current development rate.
He's so old.
I booted the game. I spawned, ran forwards, looted a car, got eaten by a dog, and went, fuck this.
Yes, been there. I didn't start until 14.7, but yes, similar experience. The dogs ravaged me,
Yep.
like I was in one of them women porno books.
So I sort of just turned it off and forgot about it. And then Achievement Hunter did a series on it, and I went, oh yeah, I own that. And I booted it up again, and that was Alpha 8.
So 10 years later, when Alpha 8 came out, got it. All right.
Yeah, pretty much.
Hey, early days, alphas were coming out every couple of months. They were fast.
They were. And then they did the community poll and sort of said, what was it? How often do you want the updates? And everyone sort of said, less of them. And they went to every 6 months, I believe. And now we're lucky if we get one every 2 fucking years.
Yeah, 17 was 18 months. 20
Yeah,
was a
and
while too.
It's looking like 21's going to be about 18 months at this rate.
It will be. They changed the Unity engine, so it takes a lot of extra time. Last
Yeah,
time
but they did that with 18 and 19 too.
Yeah, that's what
They-
took them so long.
I mean, when they started A20, I said, sorry, 21, I said on the forums, are you going to update the engine? And Fatal said, oh, I already have. It's working great. And that was like within a couple of months of them starting A21.
So the number one rule I'll say is if you talk on the forums with them, no matter what you suggest, they will deny it till they're blue in the face, and then they'll adopt it probably within 6 months, realizing
Yeah.
you're correct.
So
Especially if you talk to Roland.
Roland is no longer the community manager. That is now creator.
Yeah, I heard.
I think Roland. I don't know what happened with Roland. I think maybe he just got burnt out. I don't know.
That's what I've heard.
That's just my opinion. That's not fact. I think he had too much of Manuel's. This needs to look pretty. Give me my creatine, and just said fuck it. But again, speculation in my opinion. Not that any of the pimps listen to this anyway. All right. So, next question. At what point or what alpha did you decide that you did not like the vanilla game and wanted to fix it with Darkness Falls?
That was A16. I already played modded before that, but that's when I decided to do my own.
What was your favorite mod prior to your own?
Oh, God.
Yeah, I know.
That's tough because, I mean, I'd probably say Valmod because that's the first one I started with. And, if it wasn't for Valmod and all of his tutorials, we probably wouldn't have stuff like War of the Walkers and Darkness Falls and Ravenhurst and all the rest of it. So I think I'd pick that just for that. One, it was a good fucking mod, and two, if it wasn't for all the tutorials, we wouldn't have the, nice selection that we have now.
So was Valmod an inspiration for Darkness Falls?
In a way, because, I mean, a lot of the stuff that was in Valmod was also posted on the forums as tutorials on how to mod. So, yeah.
So why did you create Darkness Falls? What was your driving force behind that, since you love Valmod so much?
Well, it was sort of, can I take bits of Valmod that I like and leave out the bits that I don't? Off the top of my head, I don't actually remember the bits that I didn't like anymore. And then can I take some of the bits of War of the Walkers I liked and then turn it into something? And I did. I was bored one day and did it.
So what's the journey been like from when you started to where we are at now?
Long and frustrating. Being completely honest, because at first it was like, right, I've got to learn the XML and I've got to learn why things didn't work. And then after that, it was learning some C#, and then it was learning Unity. And, just long and frustrating, but ultimately worth it, I think.
Now, what about when we switched from SDX to, what do we have, DMT now? Is that what we're calling it?
No, we're not even on that. We're on, we just straight up compile in Visual Studio and it loads it.
Oh,
so we don't even have a tool anymore.
So we don't need the tool, and I think that was Alex doing on his end for the Harmony integration, if I'm getting that right.
Yeah, Alok brought in Harmony X, I believe it is, and that came in A20. So now all you need to do is just need to grab the DLLs, add them as references in Visual Studio, and then you can just compile your shit straight from there.
It sounds like it's gotten a lot easier in some aspects.
It has, actually. It really has, which is great. It's a very good thing.
It is. And I think Alec and Prime have probably been the most generous with their additions to the modding community. I mean, that's my opinion. But
I would actually completely agree with that. Fatal's been helping me a bit as well, so I do have to give a few props to him.
yeah, I haven't seen him on the Discord in a while. He used to be a little bit more active, but he just could be busy with work and just doesn't want to deal with any of our bullshit.
Yeah, I've PM'd him on the forums asking a couple of questions and got answers. And obviously it's not like, oh, what's happening in X Alpha? It's like, hey, I'm trying to do this and I can't work it out, and I'm trying to compare it to what you guys have got, but the Ripper hasn't ripped it properly. Can you give some pointers? And he has. So
Yeah, he always seemed like he was helpful and whatnot. Oh, I'm saying that out. So when you first started Darkness Falls, what was your first objective? Like when you sat down and says, I'm gonna make this mod, what was the first thing you worked on, if you can remember? I know it's been, 72 years at the development cycle of 7 days, so
classes,
what's that?
the class system.
Oh,
It
the
was,
class
can I,
system, okay.
yeah, it was, can I get classes working? And it took me about 6 hours and I got one working.
And what was your first class?
That I don't remember, being totally honest.
That's all right. That's all right. I know Darkness Falls, coming out in Alpha 16, and we're just on the verge of the cusp of Alpha 21. It's been, 52 years. So
Yeah.
It's been
getting ready to
84 years.
getting ready to fucking retire. That shit's ridiculous.
yes, every Alpha comes new changes, new challenges to overcome by the dev team to be able to mod it. And at least they're on board with it being modded and providing tools and resources to make that happen internally. Like I said, going from SDX to DMT and now just straight code injection with Harmony.
Yeah, that was a really good change.
Let's see. I have played Darkness Falls since Alpha 16. Prior to that, I had played Starvation.
Oh, Starvation's great.
I know. It honestly, and not to hurt your feelings, but I rank Starvation above Darkness Falls.
I actually would agree with you. If they could update Starvation with all the new shit we now know, like how to animate better and stuff like that, it would just be the best mod. It's as simple as that.
Dude, them fucking spiders were relentless.
Yes.
The first time I played that, holy shit, I'm like running and running and running. I'm like, what the fuck? And I got eaten by a spider. Could not escape.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And then if you didn't die to that, there was usually some other random animal that you haven't seen that decides it's just going to eat your balls.
It's a spicy meatball.
That's the one. Or you die to the flu.
Oh yeah. And don't forget the insanity.
Yep. Yeah. So then after you've died, you've then got 0 sanity, and you're just absolutely losing your mind. You have to just kind of sit there in your base and hope to God nothing sees you while you recover your sanity.
Oh yeah. You just sit there and laugh until you put your prayer rug. I mean your resting mat out.
Yeah, and you could pictures worked as well, and you'd also randomly fire your gun and stuff like that.
Yeah. Now, given that that part of the mod, have you thought about adding something similar into Darkness Falls?
Yes, and it is currently disabled because I was trying to do it for Alpha 20, but for some reason it wasn't working quite right. So we turned it off and went, right, we'll revisit that later and see if we can get it to work.
So, I mean, DF has had a lot of iterations because of the alphas and whatnot. What's been the most challenging thing from like alpha to alpha that you've had to rework with the updates?
From 16 to 17 was guns, because they changed how because they added in the system so you could mod the guns, and the right click zoom didn't work anymore. It would just crash the game, and it took ages for me to work out how to fix that. I think it was like me and a few others who managed to work out what the problem was.
Do you remember what the problem was?
It was something to do with there needed to be a child object on the gun that wasn't in the same place as the normal scope, so it knew where to position the zoom, I think.
That kind of makes sense.
Because obviously they'd redone it all. it meant my custom guns just did not work unless you disabled the right click. If you did that, they works fine.
So if you don't want to aim, it works fine. But if you want to aim, fuck you.
Yeah, pretty much. If you wanted to, you couldn't even boot the game with the aiming enabled. It just crashed it as soon as you equipped the gun.
Oh. Yeah, it's definitely not good for a game that you want to play.
Yeah, that was the worst one. And then after that, honestly, like 17 to 18, then 18 to 19, 19 to 20 wasn't too bad. It was mostly all just tweaking XML.
Yeah, so I've seen your progression file, and it blows my mind the amount of work you put into that, just to have the different classes and whatever your perk system and stuff like that. How long did that really take you to get worked out?
Well, the first one was A16. That wasn't too bad. Because what I added in was sort of an extension of what was already there. So that wasn't so bad. 17 was a ball ache because obviously they completely changed the skill system, didn't they? They ditched all the action skills and everything. So at the time, we couldn't put action skills back in. Well, we didn't know how to, so we had to kind of work around that. So 17 was a mess. And then when we got that working, I had to redo it all again to put all the action skills back in and try to redo it closer to Alpha 16. So it was more like a mix of 16, 17. I know that took weeks doing that when I worked out action skills.
Now, for action skills, do you mean like the learn by doing?
Yeah.
Yeah. I missed
they're
that.
actually called action skills in 16.
Okay. Yeah, I prefer the LBD. Yeah, 17 kind of broke my heart a little bit when they added in what Medmo mispronounces attributes. It's actually attributes. If he would pick up a dictionary, because an attribute is something much different. Yeah, that they decided to go a little RPG. It's like, oh well, now you need to raise your agility and raise your intelligence to be able to unlock this shit. I kind of preferred that you had perks or skills that required, to save up points when you leveled up. I couldn't tell you how many times I had to, wait 10 levels to be able to unlock something.
I like that you could quickly flesh out the class that you wanted, but the problem was there's too much crossover, and if you're playing, well, basically you need to do pretty much everything, and that means investing in all the trees. So you can't really, if you specialize, you're blocking yourself off from other parts of the game.
Well, Naz, if you didn't just always play with yourself, and you joined a team, because I have 2 friends I play this with, and that's when I don't, the new alpha comes out, and then I get bored after about 20 hours, if that, sometimes 30, depending what the new integrations are, with the update. But we all kind of take an area and specialize, and then once we get that, then we go into a secondary skill set.
True.
You want to know what I don't get?
Yes, I do.
So they changed the skills in Alpha 17, and everything you had to learn via books, if you remember that.
Oh wait, when did they take the books out? Was that 18?
And in 18, they took out the books, and it was all done via skills, right?
Yes.
And they said they did that because they don't want you relying on learning everything from books. Then in 19, they put the books back in as an option, so you could find the book or purchase the skill.
Right? But that's because everybody revolted on the forums.
Right.
We want the books. We want the magazines.
So why are we now going back to fucking books for A21?
Well, there's books, there's magazines now.
Books and magazines.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing. You now can't buy the skills to learn, or that's what they've claimed. You have to go find the books.
That's because
which they got rid of in A18.
What
the fuck?
Manmo has the attention span of a Gen Zer. That's what.
No shit.
If it's not pretty, he doesn't care.
I mean this with all like reverence and sincerity.
Bullshit.
Dude needs to go. No, dude needs to go get checked for ADHD.
He might.
Do you remember they streamlined a bunch of their assets out? or they quote unquote streamlined, and then they added a bunch of useless junk that nobody uses.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're just adding even more blocks and more stuff from what I've been told. And I'm just like, what?
So
Why?
Karma loves the blocks.
there's so many blocks.
Her apartment is
You
made
don't
out of
even
Legos.
know.
Her apartment is made out of Legos. She loves blocks so much.
Blocks are wonderful.
Blocks are wonderful unless they're killing your performance, then they can get in the fucking bin.
Someone has a fix for performance, hopefully coming out sometime in the next 6 years.
We can hope.
Yeah, but I don't mind new blocks and shapes or whatever, but make them useful, you know. Like, what I'm irked about in A21 is they're getting rid of the glass jars, and you have to use the water catcher.
I don't like that.
I don't like that
I don't
either.
like it either. I'm
Yeah,
very vocal
not a
about not
fan.
liking it.
So Alpha 22 will have glass jars back, or Khaine will just add them in the Darkness Falls.
Everybody's going to be adding them back.
I've already backed up the asset files and the XML and everything. They're going back in.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I like the idea of a water catcher, but don't take away the jars.
Stupid. Free. Don't even get me started on the goddamn...
I like the idea of the water catcher, and I could even understand if they turn around and say, right, well, you're not going to be allowed to make jars anymore, so you've got to find them.
Right.
Sure.
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll just mod that back in anyway. That's a simple recipe to add in, and then,
Yeah. But at least then that way you've got a case of, well, you're probably better off using the rain catcher rather than, jars.
Yeah, but now here's the thing. What level of attribute, say intelligence, do you need to get to unlock the rain catcher? Is it like an early game thing, like the Forge?
It better be.
Or do you have to be have your 7 or 8 intelligence unlock this shit and you're gonna anger everybody?
What I think they're gonna do, based on what's been said on the forums, and I might be misremembering this, I think they're gonna make it a really easy unlock.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm pretty sure they said you need water filters to use it.
Yeah.
And they're purchase only.
Fuck that. I will mod that on my server to craft them. Now, it might be, maybe an intelligence 3 thing, not too far, some plastics.
I mean, a water filter is just fucking cloth and activated charcoal, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
So, make the activated charcoal something like, I don't know, fucking chem station
Yeah.
recipe.
Yeah. So
Done.
So you make it like a 2-part thing. You need to make the container for it, and then you got to make the charcoal for it, and then and boom. I love more complicated things like that to be able to craft. It's like, oh, well, I need to make this widget, but I need to make the parts for it first. I miss gun parts. I miss the fact when you could all right, you got to find your gun parts, and then you can upgrade your gun with the different gun parts by swapping them out in the workbench. I miss that. Like, I have an idea for a PvP mod once this shit hits gold. I just got so frustrated with fucking everything changing that I don't want to put all this time and money, not money. Well, yeah, some money. I bought assets already. And then just bang my head against my desk when the new update comes out that I have to go fuck with it. Because this game's not supposed to be PvP, but we have PvP players. And I want to make a mod that would be challenging enough, because one of the things I'm actually waiting for is them to fix the AI for NPCs, which I was hoping was coming this alpha, but now it's alpha 22. So maybe I'll start before it goes gold, but I want something out there that people can enjoy, and I already have Easter eggs planned. Just because I like Easter eggs.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, so I have, I even have a name for it. I have the ideas for it. I just lack the skills in getting everything ready for it. So I'm going to be bothering you at some point because I like your progression with the classes, and I want to do similar, just different classes.
That's fine. I mean, most of it is seriously just XML. So I think I use a little bit of S-Core to make like the action skill levels properly stick, and that's about it. So feel free to just nick it and do whatever you want. I don't mind. It's only XML.
Yeah, yeah. I like the idea of classes. So I definitely want to do it. I already have I have a Trello account that I have some shit in there. I'm gonna need some C# coding, and I gotta find someone to help me out with that because I've been trying to learn a code since the late '90s, and my brain just doesn't get it. It's too abstract in my brain. I'm hands-on. I went to school to be a network engineer, so hands-on, no problem. If you could give me physical pieces and says, okay, well this little block here's a list. Now you need to put this in to call it from here from this block. I can learn it, but trying to do it abstract, it hurts my brain. My brain's like, no, we're not doing this. I'm not 20 years old anymore. I suck everything in like a sponge. I'm going to be 44. My brain's like, no, I want it to fucking work. I don't want to learn. Just make it work.
That makes sense.
Yeah, because I'm old.
I'm not that much younger than you, to be fair.
Yeah. I think Naz is the baby here.
Why, thank you. Wah!
Yeah, Naz, you're still in your 20s, aren't you?
Just barely.
All right. So he's getting there, but he's still, he's still in the twos, the terrible
I'm getting
twos.
old.
Not until when you get out of, when you turn to get out of bed and you need like 5 minutes to warm your body up to move, like an old car, and you make the noises.
Pull a muscle getting out of bed.
I pull a muscle sleeping. What are you kidding me?
I've done that.
I wake up, my back's like, what did you do? I'm like, I don't know, I slept.
There was one day.
Oh no.
There was one day last week I woke up and I was lying on my arm somehow. I got it bent under me, and I sort of went, right, my arm's dead, roll over, move the arm, okay, go back to sleep. Then I woke up and I pulled all the muscles in my shoulder all the way down to my elbow, and I was like, what the fuck did I do?
You existed.
Yeah.
You know what? But what there should be something in 7 days where the longer you're alive, you start suffering age effects.
You can die of old age.
Not necessarily die of old age, but say, you need first thing, when it hits, 4 a.m. or whatever daylight is, you start taking like a penalty until you have, a jar of coffee.
There's a mod idea. You could create a sort of a time-based effect that the longer an alpha drags out for, like the slower your character starts moving and the lower your health is. So when you're like a year and a half in the development for the next alpha, all the new players jumping in late in the game have got like 10 health and move at like half a kilometer an hour.
Well, I was thinking more days on the server. Like I don't know, it was my A15 or my A16 server had like over 4,500 days. I don't like wiping. So, you use resources. I did have an invisible admin that would go around and spawn cars for me every so often, just because it needed it. But day 4,500, it's like, oh well, shit. Resources are getting hard to find. Yes, they are.
Seasons would be a cool idea as well.
Yeah.
Seasons would be awesome.
There was a mod for that, but I think it was A19.
No, I'd imagine that might have to be some code in there, but not XML.
Yeah, that was C#.
Yeah. Come on, OC. Here's a new side project for you. Make seasons.
Actually, I did have a good idea for weather. I want to make basically like a randomized storm system where if you had really intense weather, it could break blocks in your base.
Oh, where I'm down.
Well, have any of you played Icarus?
It's on my wish list. But
I have really good storms in there. Like really intense storms will damage your base, and if you've got like a wooden structure, lightning can hit it and it will go on fire, and if you can't put the fire out, your whole base will just burn down.
Oh no.
So we need a fire system and fire extinguishers.
Well, I know Spheri's got a fire system working in Escort.
Oh, does he?
Really?
Yeah.
Is that based on oh my god, I can't think of his name.
You're not thinking of Guppy's fire mod?
No, not Guppy. Before that, it was like Alpha like 15. Who's one of the modders that just got hired by the pimps recently? Hal 9000. I think he had a fire mod. In like, I think it was like 15 or 16 where the fire would spread. I don't know if it damaged the blocks, but I know it would spread. I'd have to go back to YouTube and find it. I think it was Hal 5000.
Yeah, Spheri's has got it adds tags to blocks like wood and crops and stuff like that, and it will actually set fire to them and destroy them.
Are you going to utilize that in Darkness Falls?
No, mostly for lag reasons.
Okay.
Yeah, in Icarus, they don't really put a cap on how far fires can spread, so you can end up in situations where lightning will strike somewhere and you're just in your base doing your crafting or whatever, and you'll notice your performance slowly start to come down until it's like a slideshow, and you're like, why is my game running so bad? And you look out the window and like the entire forest is on fire.
Yeah, I've been current games have been mostly War Tales right now. I'm actually going to throw up a Conan server. One of my other friends just picked it up, and I want to get a Ground Branch server running too, since we're talking about other games for the moment. Before Karma tells me to get back on topic.
I mean, we've only got so many questions, so I'm like, yeah, go ahead, have fun. Let the squirrel take the reins.
No, I'm a penguin, not a squirrel. Let's see. So what new systems or assets are we looking to see in the next update of Darkness Falls? Anything you can talk about now, or you just want to keep hitting until Alpha 21 comes out and you start banging your head into things?
Honestly, at the moment, the only thing we're talking about is we want to finish off the POI for after the lab, and we want to look at redoing the bosses a bit so they aren't just bullet sponges. They might have some like a more interesting mechanic, and that's about it. That's about all we've discussed so far. Because for the most part, people seem happy with it, so it will probably just be lots and lots of tweaks.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like balancing issues, then.
Yeah, probably that sort of thing. See if there's any way I can try and squeeze some more performance out of it, which I don't think I can. I think I've done all I can with that, but I still want to look at it anyway.
So when you go to what's that I say?
I was just saying I could probably help you with the performance.
Yeah, yeah. That would be a little bit of a team up there. You guys should talk. Now, is the performance come from the C#, or is the performance come from like XML editing and loading sequence and whatnot?
It was mostly assets and some of the C# code. Now, one of the things that I use, the C# code that is, I might be able to ditch in Alpha 21 if a bug has been fixed that I've been told about. If that's been fixed, I can ditch something. That should help.
If it's fixed, that's a big if, because if it's not pretty, it's not on the list.
But it's Prime, and Prime said he's fixed it, so I tend to trust him.
Yeah, there's credibility there. Yeah, there's definitely credibility with Prime. He does what he says he's going to do.
It was one of the Twitch integration things. When you spawn a zombie, no matter if you're underground or whatever, it spawns at ground level, and apparently that's been fixed.
Oh, so now if you spawn a zombie,
zombies in the tunnels.
Zombies in tunnels, zombies underground.
Yeah, and the problem I have is I wanted to use that feature to spawn the zombies in the bunkers, which you can't do because they spawn at ground level.
Even when it's like a sleeper block?
Yep.
Oh.
Because it's what I was doing was I was trying to use an entity, which I'd made a body bag as an entity, which had a buff on it, which triggered the Twitch integration to spawn zombies. But because of the bug, they were spawning above the bunker.
Yeah. All right. Oh,
So if that's fixed, I can then ditch the C# that spawns those zombies, which then may also fix the issue with resetting the bunker and the zombies not spawning.
which would be good.
Yeah.
Let's see. We have a question here from Toxic Hollywood. Do you have any plans for the future of DF after 821 stable haha is released? I honestly haven't read up on the 821 changes, but the half I did read made it seem more like overhaul mods were going to have a bit of difficulty going forward.
Not really. The plan is get it to work, which is always the first step, then fix the bugs depending on what the hell they've done, then work from there, see what I've got to work with. Like if I can get it all ported over and working as is right now, that's great. And then we'll start looking at, right, what needs fixing, what can we yeet for extra performance, things like that. Like, for example, the body bags I was talking about. If we can change that for extra performance, fantastic, made up.
OC has a bunch of questions he can ask himself since he decided to write them because he's here.
Alrighty. Well, obviously you're working on Darkness, but is there any other projects or main projects that you've been working on?
I did one very small mod for RimWorld because the Tainted Clothes debuff pissed me off. And that's it. And I am working on something else, and I can't say what that is. And I did Romero mod. That was fun.
Those are your public ones, but are there any that didn't become public that maybe failed or
Nope.
attempts? No.
Nope.
He's batting 1,000.
Yeah, I'll say.
That's like insight check.
Anyway.
I made a Pac-Man clone for fun. That was sort of public. I posted it in the Discord.
Was that just for C# practice or?
Yeah, that was just to practice C# in Unity.
Ooh, looks like my Navy SEALs just came in.
What are your background coding skills? Do you know C# or C++?
I am very old. I did a computer science degree and we did Java.
Oh, wow.
You're
going way back. Not even JavaScript.
Yeah, that was 2000. That was 1999 to 2001.
Wow. Do you still utilize any of those skills?
No, not at all.
Everybody says that about Java. It's like, just forget about Java.
I mean, it's similar enough to C# that it's helped, but that's about it.
Yeah. Well, you get to recognize structure of code, but not so much how to form it.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's about it, yeah. Is there anything aside from the workshop that would help the mod scene kind of develop? Like, is there a tool or something like Harmony that would really help branch things?
Well, we've got Harmony. Better documentation for that would be really good because, being honest, we've got Harmony X, which is a fork of Harmony, and the Harmony-based documentation isn't very good, and you have to go digging around the RimWorld forums to find out what the fuck you need. We could really do with better documentation for that. I think that would help a lot of people. Probably not me because I'm an idiot, but it would help a lot of other people. And there's a lot of like triggered effects and requirements and stuff that are actually in the game and they're not documented because while they're there, they're not used and they only sort of work. So it'd be good if TFP documented those and fixed them, like is Blood Moon.
Yeah, I've noticed that going through the code. There's quite a bit of either old code or semi there, and it either doesn't function or it doesn't seem to serve a purpose. It doesn't even link to anything.
Yeah, like Is Blood Moon works. If you're not on a server, it crashes servers.
So
that actually makes a lot of sense now.
There's on self loot container, so that fires if you open and loot a container. Works fine in single player, doesn't work on servers.
I found the same thing with some of the game events that they've added.
Yep, a lot of those don't work properly on servers too.
Yeah.
They just need to fix a lot of that.
Yeah, I even told Prime there that there's one in particular. I think it's dropping the held item, and that does work if you were, say, self-hosting, or if you're in a single player. The way it's actually coded is for single player, but in
Yep.
dedicated, yeah, it's not going to work.
Yeah. There's a couple of other things like that. They really need to expose the XML for splat map configuration so we can actually add in custom biomes. That would be nice.
Oh, yes, custom biomes.
That's
So,
really nice.
with this talk of the coding and whatnot, Harmony, what do you think? I know there's a couple mods that are using Bepinex. I don't know if that's how you say it. The Bepinx that's like popular with like Valheim, V Rising, and other similar games.
Yep, I know it.
So what's the difference between using that and using Harmony?
Okay, so Harmony, you do your DLL or whatever, and that loads during the main menu for the game. So when it says like loading game data and all of that, that's when your Harmony stuff starts to load. Bepinex loads before that. It loads at the Fun Pimps logo. So that allows you to change shit that you normally can't change because you're interacting with the game as soon as it loads.
So is that a little less secure to do it that way versus using Harmony?
I will be honest, I'm not skilled enough to be able to answer that on security. However, I know that it will not work on the Xbox Game Pass version of the game, and when the Fun Pimps change to using the new mod folder completely, it won't work.
Yeah, because I think it's Undead Legacy that uses that.
And so does Ravenhurst.
Yeah, and I was just curious why they went that route instead of Harmony. I don't know if
So
that...
basically, I know for Ravenhurst, one of the main things they use it for is changing the main menu music. Because if you don't use that, the normal music kicks in and then your custom music does because the Harmony patch loads later.
Mm-hmm.
If you use Bepinex, you can inject it before the music even starts to load and just replace it. Subquake uses it because there's a load of stuff in the game you cannot change unless you inject your new code that early. And he has rewritten so much of the game code that he has to do it. And I've repeatedly told him to stop fucking doing it, and he won't.
Oh, he's going to have a rude awakening for A21.
Oh, I've outright told him, you are going to break your own mod because it will eventually no longer support where your Bepinex. And he was like, oh, fuck it, I'll just patch it regardless. It's like, that's not the answer.
Let's put a Band-Aid on a bullet hole.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was like, I'm familiar with it for V Rising and for Valheim because I use, a few mods, quality of life. Nothing that impacts the point of, what I would call like cheating or like an unfair advantage, because then for me that takes away from the game. But like some quality of life things, improvements I like. But
yeah,
I'm like, I get how it works there, but I'm like, why would you use it in 7 days when we've been doing this a certain way for so long? And that, Alec or Alok, however you say his name, has worked with us to give us access to use Harmony instead of SDX or DMT.
Here's an example. Passive effects. Like health change OT, stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're all enums. You can't change them. You can if you use Bepinex. You can add new ones. And that's another thing I know Subquake's done. He's added a load of new passive effects by using that.
Which is going to be obsolete as soon as the new alpha comes out.
Well, from what I've heard, Alpha 21 is still using the current mods folder that we've got, from what I've been told.
Oh, so
I don't know how accurate that is.
Okay.
But it's going to break in 22.
Okay. So I guess they're, every time, the 7 days account tweets something, you have all the consolers come out of the woodwork. Where's my console update?
Yeah, because they don't go and read the fucking news updates because they're plebs.
Yes. So, for a long time, with Telltale going out of business and, TFP not having the business acumen to foresee a projected problem as such. They had to go buy their rights back at a hefty cost from an auction.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to me, even before that happened, to me, that'd be like, well, I would consider the fact of what happens, what happens if you guys, we have to part ways? Do I get my rights back? As it should have been.
That really should have been a better contract.
Yeah. So hopefully they've learned from this as an expensive lesson, and it won't happen with future games. But my train just got derailed.
I'll be dead for future games.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally just lost my train on that one.
You had mentioned performance issues earlier. Do you find that's more client side, or does your mod affect dedicated a lot?
In testing, I find that it doesn't really hurt dedicated that much. It is more sort of client side because it has to load in all the assets into RAM, which I've managed to tweak a bit. So that's not as bad now. Being totally honest, though, it's mostly just fighting the base fucking game.
I want to make you better. No.
Good example is cities. You go into cities and your FPS goes in the toilet because there's a bug with Windows.
Every alpha, I have to go and start cutting up my carrier server hub because the verts and the trees they increase exponentially every single alpha. So you have to start trimming prefabs.
It's ridiculous. It really is. This is why I get pissed off with the constant push for make look pretty. It's like you're hurting performance. You've got a good game as a base. Stop it.
Yeah, I mean, I like some of the improvements in the back end with the more recent alphas, but I still miss like the 15-16 way of doing things. And I'm still bitter that they took out the sliding jail door. I mean, I know it can mod back in, but I miss it. And I'm lazy.
Do you know why they did that?
I assume it's something extremely stupid.
It broke the AI.
Wait. A sliding door, an animation on a door broke the AI.
Yeah, that was the reason they gave. It broke the AI, therefore it was removed.
That's fucking retarded.
I've been working with the code a bit in the back end, and so I've been reading the AI and I know how it works. That's pretty insane, a statement to make. That means basically the animation was happening while the AI was occurring, overlapping the physics, and it would break it. So instead of isolated and separated, they just tossed out the whole idea.
From what I understand, it's actually even worse than that. Even if the door was open, they saw it as closed.
Oh, it couldn't recognize it.
Yeah. So even though it was a door and it was tagged as door, they saw it as just a solid wall.
Okay, so you know what it is? They've bought the AI library.
Yeah, A-star pathfinding.
And yeah, because they don't know how to integrate properly, I guess, or add extra entities or recognition, the baseline stuff is kind of hooked into their game.
Yeah, because I looked into that myself because when they said they were updating it for Alpha 17, I obviously got the experimental when everyone else did. And it was like, I was looking in the log, it says initializing A-star pathfinding. And I was like, what's that? Searched it. First thing that came up was an asset store thing. And I thought, you said you had an AI program that was programming it all. What's this shit?
Yeah, that's what I thought. Same thing with the netcode. I heard this whole thing. Oh, they're redoing the back end. Good chance they've just taken the new Unity netcode that just came out this year.
You want to know what the best thing they could do for the netcode is?
Write their own?
Yeet it, install Mirror. Mirror's way better.
That's true. Yeah.
Mirror is really good.
If it's proven to work well with the engine they're on, I don't know why they keep trying to reinvent the wheel.
Mirror has been proven to work with up to 300 connected clients on Unity 2021.
Damn.
So
yeah,
it's
good.
Is the netcode is what keeps us from having more than, say, 8 or 16 supported players?
No.
Okay, there'll be the AI as well.
Yeah, there's a runtime issue going on. The whole game is made on a single core,
Yes,
And
yeah.
Unity, that's a big issue, is that when they started development, ancient years ago when
There
the
was only single
symbols
cores.
were still being created,
Yeah.
unfortunately, they're still in that mode. They haven't actually updated the way the code works, the form or the function. So they've erased over 15 years of hardware development. Like there's
You want to
actually
know?
no point in having more than a dual core running
You want
this.
to know how you can prove that?
Sure.
You limit 7 days to die to 2 cores, 4 threads in Task Manager. Watch your CPU turbo up, and then your performance gets way better.
Yeah, that's exactly what I've heard.
Yeah, because I did it, and I was like, right.
Yeah. Well, basically, what's happened is there's a runtime. Unity has a tick system. Most games have a tick where it gets pre-programmed, where they know based on their animation rate, the net code, their overall runtimes, how fast they want that Unity tick to go off. But if you have one person in this game, I measured the runtime at something like 0.05 or something silly, and the Unity tick is 0.01. So right off the bat, they've missed 5 ticks from one player in the game, which to me is just mind-boggling. It means there's something really wrong, and they're not profiling how this works. So like the fundamentals, the base part of the game isn't really working anymore. They keep adding, I want to call it like bloat. They're adding more stuff, but they're not sorting out how the code works. So there's no real engineering or concept of how to optimize it. It's just thrown in there. And once they get it in a place where it doesn't crash, they leave it. That's unfortunate because it's like this game has huge potential, but they're not even using most of the cores in your system. So we might as well go back to 1990. Like
I
take a
mean,
computer from 15 years ago. That's the maximum your hardware can perform.
Yes,
I mean, I could,
1990
Because
was
of the,
15 years ago.
I could understand even if they limited it to like 4 cores, 8 threads. That's reasonable.
yeah, it'd at least be somewhat modern. Like a lot of programmers, to be honest, they don't use a lot of cores. They don't know how to do it. They don't multi-thread. Not very good at it. Until you get into triple A, double A development studios, people who hire the right people to do it. That like that's their core job is keeping this organized. These guys started out, I think, making art assets and just kind of throwing it into the Unity editor and going, "Oh, this would be a fun concept." But there was no idea of how um, really how heavy a load this is for any computer to do. Like if you just do the amount of processing, the amount that needs to be done on a modern processor, they're already over the bandwidth. It's not possible. So the workload has to be spread out on more.
Hmm.
Otherwise, I don't know how this could function.
I mean,
And
that Pac-Man thing I mentioned, I had that multi-threaded very lightly. It was only running on 2 cores, but for like a first project, I was quite impressed with that.
well, it's pretty normal that you would offload part of your work, especially physics, on a second core.
Yep, that's
And
what I did. Physics and AI.
yeah, exactly. That's been a norm for at least 10 years.
So what you're
And I mean,
saying is like you could have a core for your physics. You could use a core to utilize AI and spread out the workload to make it more
yeah,
efficient.
yeah. Well, it gets worse. If you look in the code, I found they have the Unity job system installed. So they
Which
have
is
to
really good.
exactly. But because they use this old procedure, it's called the OOP method versus an ECS. ECS uses the new, Unity calls it dots. These are just acronyms for things. But if you look into it, it's how you use multi-threading with Unity is you have to use, or it's really recommended anyway, to use this new method. Because the old code is all in the old process, somebody either has to redo it or I feel bad for some jerk who has to, I guess, hack it together. They can isolate little things and get some multi-threading together, but it's going to be chaos. They've really worked themselves into a corner. They don't understand that either, because they're talking about optimization at the end of the game, not now.
Yeah, they should have been doing it like fucking 4 alphas ago, to be honest. When they went from A16 to A17 and did the major Unity upgrade, it should have been done then.
Yes, exactly. That was the time to do it,
Yeah.
especially if they're going to take over a year between a patch. That's the time when, I mean, you can even take something like Rust, where they changed engines.
Yes, they
Uh,
did.
how long did that take them?
I don't know because I didn't follow Rust very well, but you know, went from what was it, Unity 5.6 or was it 5.4 to Unity 2018 from say 16 to A17, and they were going, oh, it's going to take ages because it's broken so much, we've got to rewrite it. That's when you do your optimization.
Mm-hmm. And then they went over to the new engine and they said, all right, let's redo it. Now Rust is recognized as not only phenomenal code, but it's an example for games in the industry. And yet I'm looking at this game going, wow, the potential's really lost here. They're not
Yeah.
even using the hardware.
Yeah, completely agreed.
Anyway, what is a favorite alpha that you've had?
16.
Why is that?
Because they fixed up some of the issues with action skills where you could just spam craft all night to level them. So that was good. And other than that, it was basically just A15 but better. And that was A14 but better, and so on and so on. So that was my favorite. The only 2 issues I had with A16, sorry, 3 issues. You could get stuck inside blocks if you opened a door the wrong way. The AI liked to run in circles. And what was the other one? Oh, the character shaking if you got too far from 0-0.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Other than that, I loved A16.
Yeah, the mini bike, and then waiting for the flying through with the mini bike, and you're just waiting for terrain to load. That was a little
Yeah.
that was a little frustrating.
It's not so bad on an SSD now, you know.
Going
Yeah.
back to the older builds.
Yeah, I'm actually playing A16.4 with Darkness Falls on YouTube, and the loading can still hitch a bit, but if you're running it off a modern SSD, it's not as bad as it used to be. Like, you can't fall through the fucking floor anymore.
That was. I started running I took over my server in at the end of 15 because I inherited it from predecessors, and 16 was the first time that I was really running the whole thing myself. And yeah, I had players that were constantly falling off the map.
Yeah, with an SSD, it's a lot better.
Interesting.
I have not fallen through the map, but I have had a couple of hitches due to loading. But I'm like, that's acceptable because compared to what it used to be like.
Yeah. I mean, I missed the
16's
big
my
round maps
favorite.
because those were awesome. And the shaking, well, I mean, your reticule wasn't shaking, so it's not like it messed up with your aiming.
Yeah,
So if you didn't mind that.
You just had to get used to using that, and then you were fine.
Yeah. So I used to be way far out in the hinterlands because nobody liked to be out there.
What was your least favorite alpha?
17, it was shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very disappointing for as long as
Yeah.
it took to make.
I think we're going to have the same with Alpha 21, to be honest.
Yeah, it'd be a big repeat of everything. Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if they repeat a lot of the bugs.
Yeah, probably.
Especially things like bed bugs. I don't know how many alphas they've come out and broken the beds. And we plead with them for 6 months. Like, could you just patch the beds? Like, you don't need to do anything else. Just patch the beds so that we spawn in the right place.
Yep, and I think that's still a problem now, especially on servers.
It can be.
People spawning in others' beds.
I've never spawned in someone else's bed.
I know actually I was on a server and I died and I picked spawn on my bed and I didn't. It worked as if I'd picked spawn near bed instead. And I was like, hang on a minute.
Yeah, that's definitely not helpful when that happens, especially if it's like a horde night and you die.
I'd love somebody to make a mod, though, where if you drank too much and black out, you wake up on somebody else's bed.
That would be pretty funny, actually.
I'm sure if you suggest that in Guppy's Discord, someone might do that.
I could see Sferry doing that just for a fucking laugh.
Yeah.
I really could.
Yeah, I would definitely run that on my server as long as it was server side. Because
or Zelox, I could see him doing it.
Players don't like to download things and it aggravates me.
Are there any themes that inspire your work? A show or something like a movie?
Ooh, that's tough. I would say not really. Oh,
Any other games then? Past or present?
Doom? I mean, that's sort of the idea. That's partially the idea where I got the key cards from with the bunker. So I'd say probably old school Doom.
I heard that's running on a refrigerator somewhere.
That honestly wouldn't surprise me. Someone got it running on a pregnancy test, for Christ's sake. So
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
That's how you tell if your kid's going to be a gamer when they grow up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, when my mom was pregnant with me back in the dark ages, we had the Atari 2600, and while she was pregnant, she rolled over the score on Space Invaders. So it's literally in my blood. And I'm like the only person I know who beat the ET Atari 2600 game. So
That's because it was shit and most of them got destroyed.
what, the games? The system?
The ET game, yeah.
No, I believe I still have mine somewhere. I'd have to, go through a bunch of boxes somewhere. I still have my 2600, and I also have the newer VCS that I backed on Indiegogo some time ago, and I upgraded it the first day I got it. But I do miss the classic Atari games. Sometimes they're much better than what we play now.
Some of them are. I mean, I got a USA SNES because I missed playing on the Super Nintendo, and I'm sorting out my living room now so I can set that up. But I've got an open source scan converter for that, so I can take RGB and plug it into that, and then it turns it into HDMI, and it looks really good.
Yeah.
I was playing around with RetroArch a while ago. Playing some old PlayStation 1 games.
I use RetroPie. I have one of my Raspberry Pi set up with it. And I haven't loaded any PS1 ROMs, but I do have my Genesis, my NES. I got to see if I got to load some Game Boy ROMs. I'm going to go back and play some Star Trek Next Gen on the Game Boy.
I've got in the living room a USA backwards compatible PS3, and I put custom firmware on it, so it'll play all PS1 and all PS2 games from any region.
Nice.
I put Linux on my brother's PS3.
Because you could, or did you actually have a reason to do
it? He asked me to do it, and from my understanding, he never actually did anything with it. It was just, yeah, I want that.
I did that because the one I had, it was actually part of the firmware. So you got to dick about with it. There was a proper PS3 Linux distribution, and it was really, really interesting. And then they removed it.
Of course they did.
I got a free game out of that, at least.
Yeah. Let's see. What was the inspiration? What is the Succubus or a harpy you have in there? Towards like one of the portals to hell?
Oh, the Succubus. That was... I was adding demons in, and I thought, oh, I really need like a boss or something. Well, what's a well-known demon? Succubus and Incubus. Yes. Oh, that model will do. There we go.
How do you kill them?
Lasers.
Ah, lasers. Okay. Because I was running a DF server, maybe like 8 or 9 months ago for some friends, and I like popped on here and there, and I just went in a god mode and just was like flying around exploring, and I'm like, oh, I'll fight this, and just spawned me in like the M60, and I'm like, I'm not doing any damage.
Yeah, you need lasers to disable the regen, otherwise you just piss it off.
Yes, I did that. And then
the noises that I think the Incubus makes are fucking terrifying. Where did you get those? Like, not like.
Those are the noises he when he wakes up in the morning.
That is accurate, yeah. You will suffer.
Serious?
Yes, I already do. Thank you. That was a voice pack on the Unity store. I think it was Medium Monster SFX2 or something like that.
Okay. I was like, did you have your friends record that or something? Like, what's going on? This is awful. But
I did for the female bandits and the female survivors. One of my friends did that.
okay, cool. I'm sorry.
You find it easy or tricky to add your own asset stuff?
Oh, it's actually quite easy depending on what you want to do. Like, entities are a bit of a pain, but Zith's got an awesome tutorial, so you just follow that and you're sorted. Guns and stuff are much, much easier. Animating them less so, which is why I haven't done it yet because I'm lazy. And sounds and particles, super easy.
Yeah, I think Guppy might have a tutorial on particles.
I think he might.
I know whenever I go to add a block in, I always go back to, because it's been so long since I do shit, I have to refresh myself and go back to this tutorial from like,
yeah, I have to do that sometimes just to remember which way around the tags go, but and that's about it. Other than that, I'm sorted.
Yeah, I know it's like mesh B. That's like the only one you
Yeah.
really need, and then the block, and then you hit the collider on it. Though I noticed when I've tried to use the collider that actually goes to the shape, it never works properly. There's always an issue.
Yeah,
So
I don't do that. It's also costs more performance as well, so I just use the capsule or the block or the cube.
Yeah, and then you can just resize that as needed.
Yep.
Yeah, because yeah, like I said, I've bought assets that I want to put in. Like I have vehicle assets I'm gonna put in that will be non-drivable. There's aircraft I would like to add in, but that again right now that's beyond my scope of knowledge. And I'm smart enough to know that, to try and recruit people that are good with this already that wouldn't mind helping out. Like, hey, could you work on these vehicle packs for me?
Yeah, makes sense.
Did you have another question?
Those links, I was going to say, if you have those links to the tutorials, you should throw them into the chat.
Ooh, not off the top of my head, I don't, but I could probably find them.
Me either. Like I'm subscribed to this channel on multiple of my YouTube accounts, but I'd have to go back and find
You can do it
them
afterwards.
because
Yeah,
he
but
has.
if you think about it, throw them into the chat.
There we go.
Well,
playlist.
And we'll have Naz
Character
add them into the
creation.
description for the video.
I'll put it in the.
If you,
I think I just pasted that twice like a moron.
all right.
That's the character creation one, but if I remember correctly, there is a pre-done Unity project, and if you download that, it's got all the tags for blocks in it as well.
Yeah, that's another thing. I was making my own textures at one point in Photoshop. I had Dust to Death help me out a little bit with that. I never could get the seaming down properly though.
I can't do them at all. I'm terrible with anything like that.
Well, I've been using Photoshop since like 5.5. So, not that I'm great. I do not claim to be great, but I can do what I can do. And, I had I've got a few of the plugins packs that help. Like I had back in 15 or 16, I had we had to do blocks by SDX. So I had like Marble-esque, Surreal-esque blocks for like fantasy type stuff that you could have used. And then I had a diamond plated one too. That the diamond plated one seemed okay. It just, I'm not Dust. I can't, he's very good with that. Not so much me, but I can do what I can do. Toxic. Did you have another question? It sounded like you had something else you wanted to ask. No? I don't know if he's going shy on this. Yes. So when you started with the modding, like, was it besides like you said, I think it was Valmod that had the tutorials out there. Was there any other tutorials that you used? Is this like before Zith started making stuff and Sphere started making stuff?
Zith hadn't done the block tutorial yet, I don't think. I think it was just before he did that. I might be wrong. And I'd have to double check that actually, because I am not sure.
I mean, a block is the simplest thing to load now, and
it is.
And
it wasn't, but
no,
it is
it was
now.
not. Yes, it was a pain in the ass. Now it's like, okay, bada bing, bada boom. Use your export script, write the XML, and you're good to go. And once you have that down as an example, it's like, all right, now I can have my 327 other blocks.
SDX tutorial 5 years ago. So yeah, I think it would be just before he pushed out those tutorials that I started.
Yeah, so yeah, it's quite a while ago. And the fact that the tutorial is still relevant even though there's been multiple Unity updates.
Oh yeah,
still
it's still
good.
the same basic process, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, you just drag it in, create your child, drag, drop, move, rename, apply your skin or texture, export. You have your Unity file and then just the XML for it.
Yeah. It's probably like the easiest thing to do. The only other one would be a sound.
Yeah, I haven't messed with sounds, though. I do have a radio that I was working on a couple alphas ago that I wanted to.
Sounds are literally throw into Unity, right click, export, done.
So I could throw in like several playlists, I guess, and just export it.
It'd have to be several individual songs, but yeah.
Oh, you can't do. I couldn't throw like 5 songs in there and export it as one. It would have to be per song.
No, you could do like 5 songs, then just select them all and export as one bundle. You can do that because I mean, all my sounds are in one bundle, and then you just call them with XML.
Yeah, because what I was thinking about doing, I got this asset. It was like maybe like an older, maybe like 50 style radio, maybe something a little bit newer, 80s, or it was a little sleek. I think I actually bought it. It was cheap, maybe a few bucks. But I was thinking about putting in and having it play, different stations if I could figure out how to work that. And just
I think you need code for that.
I couldn't just use like the E or the R menu, I can't remember which, it's been a while since I played, to like have it select a station and just call up that playlist.
Nope, I'm pretty sure you need code for that because I know Spheri's done a radio.
Okay. I remember when Zit did the drive-in movie.
Yep. I remember that.
Yeah. This is, it's cool stuff like that. Like I like that. Like I backed a game on Indiegogo called Dead Matter. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Yes, I have. One of my testers is one of their on their stream team.
Oh, nice. Okay, so I've got the closed alpha. I backed it for me and 2 of my buddies, and when I saw it, the original post, I'm like, man, this is like what I want 7 Days to Die to be. With the exception of you don't actually build a base, you fortify structures. That's the only thing I'm not impressed with. It's like base building. Well, it's not really base building. It's building fortifications. But they're going to have helicopters, planes for vehicles that you can fly, I guess kind of like Arma. And then they're having a radio station, which you can take over and broadcast from as one of
That'd be cool.
Yes, and I would love to be able to do that in 7 days, but again, that would definitely be code injection for that.
Oh, yeah.
But I would love to have a way, like if we could put a radio station in and then link maybe like a YouTube Music or Spotify or Pandora and have it play through the game.
I know, I'm pretty sure it was Spheri and Zith. They made a radio where it would read from a folder on your hard drive, and it was already pre-configured. I think it was literally like the mods folder, name of the mod, and then it had a folder called playlist, and you could just drag and drop your music into there, and it'd play it.
Really? Is that more current, or is that one of the older alphas?
I think it was one of the older alphas, but I'm talking like 18, 19. So if you can find it, it might still work.
There was a mod I saw that it was a massive billboard block, and you could put video links on it, and it would play the video on the billboard model.
I think that was probably based off of this drive-in movie theater.
Yeah,
because you could
that
put
sounds familiar.
because you could put I don't know I don't know if it was an MP4 or AVI or whatever, and it would actually play it. I know back in Starvation Mod they had the TV that Paco did, but he had to render each image, and it was an animated GIF. But he had to render each frame for that. That Mort told me. I was like, God damn, I don't have the patience for that. But yeah, imagine, if you will, if we had like highways and you could put billboards up, like kind of like the LED billboards we have now. I don't know if you guys have them over there in the UK, but we have them here in the US. Any way to charge more people for advertising. Like, okay, your spot will come up X amount of times per hour, and you just wrote, instead of having just one plain billboard, you had an electronic one.
Yeah, they don't do that on the highways here. That's all in cities.
Well, you guys have a lot of open country too.
Yeah.
Not that we don't, but
I was gonna say, talk for yourself, little East Coast boy.
Yeah.
We got lots of open country over here.
Well, yeah, but you also have a lot of rain too. What's it rain like 360 days out of the year?
We have less rain than Hawaii. I'm not afraid of some gray clouds.
But Hawaii gets hurricanes, so that's not really accurate. Because that volcanoes don't cause rain, they cause ash.
They cause fog. Anywho, no, they get a lot more rain over in Hawaii than they do over here. We just have overcast day. I don't care about rain. What does rain have to do with billboards that light up?
I don't know. I don't even know where rain came from. But yeah, like I've got a few that are relatively close to my area, when faster travel roads. But that'd be something interesting to be able to put in the game too.
There's any reason why you couldn't if you know how to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a block, innit?
Yeah, but I think we better have like on highways rather than just the standard roads that we have. I know King Gen, you had the ability to add highways, and I'm guessing that's something Pill A is gonna work on. I don't know.
I guess we'll find out. That'd be good if we could have highways in.
Yeah, because I know Karma players used to love to fix the highways to drive on.
Yeah, they did.
I mean, I would just ramp that shit up and Dukes of Hazzard that shit. That's the thing, though.
That didn't happen.
But the ramp block there needs to be another version of the ramp block to make it more smoother, so you can like drive up it, because it's like pretty steep. I tried
several grades.
Are there
in the blocks?
Are there now? Because there wasn't.
Yeah, you just use like wedge tip and then the next one and then the next one.
Yeah, there's the wedge 60s, and then there is like the one that's more gradient, like a handicap ramp would be. It's like smaller than the wedge tip and then smaller than the wedge 60. It's just a very small, low gradient.
Yeah, there's a 4-block rise.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like putting garages in my bases and being able to drive down underneath.
Mm-hmm.
And then then just climb up a ladder or stairs or something to get to the base up top.
I like making gyrocopter hangar bays.
I do that too. I have like a runway to be able to take off and land.
I'd never be able to land in them. I'm very poor at driving those things.
It could be worse. You could be flying to meet a bunch of people to play a game, and because they gave you a gyrocopter so you could get there, and then you press E.
I was testing something, and I'm like, "How do I land?" I forgot, and somebody said, "Oh, press this button." I don't remember which one it was, and like went nose down and crashed, and Karma died. Like, yeah, that didn't work.
We need a parachute system.
God, I wish.
Literally the first day when I was playing with Neves Gaming, Appstro came over, gave me a gyrocopter, said, "Right, there you go, follow me." And I followed him, and I got halfway there, pressed E, and fell out. I was like, that's not going well, is it?
Heads up, we've got 7 minutes left.
Oh, we do.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we go over a little bit. We start a little bit late, I think. I don't know.
Yeah. I will have to drop at the half hour. I've got stuff to do.
You
Did we
and
go
your
through all the questions?
we did. Then again, oh, here's a question. Would it be no, I guess not. Possible to integrate these new AI like ChatGPT and stuff into the game? You know,
I have no fucking idea.
that's probably a Spheri question.
That definitely is, yeah. He's way better at that stuff than I am.
Because that'd be kind of cool, because then you could put in, like, you know, war games. Would you like to play a game, Professor Falcon?
I don't see any reason why you couldn't, but he's been doing a lot with blocks lately, so he'd probably be the better person to ask.
Yeah, I should probably see if I can get him to come on at some point.
Next month.
Just be aware, he's a massive pervert. He just hides it well.
Worse than Guppy?
Yes.
I'm not surprised by that. He is Canadian.
Oh, they're awful. I would know. I'm one.
He's just, you know, because he's Canadian, he's polite and hides it, but
Yeah.
good lord.
There's quite a few people I'd like to have on here. Not everyone, I think, would want to. I appreciate you taking the time out to come on, though.
The funny thing is I was getting all set up to record 7 days today, and then suddenly went, hang on a minute, haven't I got something in 15 minutes? Yes, I have. Oh, well, never mind.
Is that for one of your, posted tweets, scheduled tweets?
No, well, I haven't sorted yet. I've just recorded this morning. I did Mondays. I thought, oh, I'll go do Fridays because I feel up to it. And then it's like, oh, wait, no, I've got something coming up. I can't.
Well, sorry to interrupt your recording. And now is it Darkness Falls or Darkest Dungeon or?
That's going to be the Friday one is Darkness Falls on A16. I've still got to do Wednesday, which is Joke Mod, and I've still got to do Mass Effect.
Mass Effect.
Yeah, Mass Effect 2.
Yeah, you can't spend all your time on 7 days.
No, you need a break because the fucking game drives you nuts.
Oh, that when you play games so much, you kind of get burnt out. Like me and my buddy have been playing War Tales, and it's fun, but at like certain points, I'm like, I don't feel like playing this. And we play PUBG, but only when the season's active. You know, we're not like, oh, well, let's go play this. We like having the objectives.
Yeah, right now I'm playing Elite Dangerous.
I have that. I bought, like, one of my Canadian friends is like, oh, you need to get this. And I sat down to play it, and I got motion sickness. And I'm like, nope, I can't do this. And I bought Star Trek Online the day it came out, back when I had DSL, back in like 2013. There was a 1.2 gigabyte update that took me like a fucking day. And I couldn't fly the ships. It gave me motion sickness.
My turtle's name is Erdnot Rex. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Rex is fucking cool. Probably the best character.
Yeah, our hedgehog's name was Talizora.
Our cats have various weird names. Like there's Wade. That should be obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Sam and Dean.
Nice.
I love that.
And Meg.
Nice. The first Meg or the second Meg?
The first Meg.
Which is Jared Padalecki's wife.
No, that was the second Meg.
Do you know what Naz is short for?
The first Meg was the brunette. The second one was the blonde.
No.
Am I misremembering?
The first one was the blonde, who sadly passed away this year.
Oh yeah, I remember reading that. I thought she was after watching it for 15 years, my memory's a little off.
So we got them, and then we got Missy. So if you watch Doctor Who, you'll know that one.
I have not. I've never seen a Doctor Who episode.
Missy's my favorite.
Yeah, Missy's great. And then we've got the 4 tabbies who are foster cats at the moment. But sorry, 3 of them are foster, 1 we adopted, and that's Tiny.
Do you know what Naz is short for?
Nazgul?
Nazara.
Is that some anime thing?
No, it's Mass Effect.
I've never played Mass Effect. I don't really do single player games. I haven't in a long time.
it was what the GEF called Sovereign.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You should play some single player games because they're good.
I
Fucking multiplayer nerd.
I just prefer playing with my
Yeah,
friends. That's
nerd.
all. Oh, I'm a geek. I don't give a shit, and that's not an insult to me. My most recent job interview
It shouldn't be.
that I'm like, I straight up told her, I told the HR woman, I'm like, listen, I'm a strip nerd, and she just started laughing, and I'm like, I don't, it's not something I've ever been ashamed of. I mean, I've been playing, Dungeons and Dragons since 1991. I've been playing other tabletop RPGs. I've been playing video games since, 1985 or 1986 when I got the NES with the Power Pad. Actually, before that was the Atari. I played Millipede so long my thumb was like stuck in that position for hours. I 3D print. I run my own server with Plex, and that's where I host my game servers off of it. Right now, it's got a Ryzen 3950X, 128 gigs of RAM, and 124 total terabytes. And I plan on upgrading that hopefully by Christmas with a 7950X, another 128 gigs of RAM, if not more. So
if you do that, make sure you get very low speed RAM.
You mean the latency?
I mean, like the actual frequency, like instead of getting like DDR5 as fast as fuck, get 4800 because there's problems with the memory controllers on both Intel and AMD.
I'll have to keep that in mind.
So if you try to run 4 sticks, it just shits itself.
Well,
yeah, I had that problem when I upgraded in October to the 13900K, and I bought 2 kits of 16 gigabyte modules, so there were 4 sticks. And when you enabled XMP, it would just be completely unstable. It would be crashing all the time. So I sent those back, and I got 1 kit of 2 32 gig modules, and never had a problem.
Yep, it's a problem with the memory controller with high speed RAM and more than 2 sticks, and it's on both platforms.
Yeah, I upgraded to my regular PC around Christmas time to the 7900X because if you bought the processor, you got 32 gigs of RAM for free. And then I ended up buying another 32. So I got 64 gigs in my main rig with the 7900X. Everything seems to be working all right. I haven't had any issues. I got the 4x16s in there.
I've got 64 gigs in this thing I'm using.
Same. I use 20 gig as a RAM drive for Shadowplay.
I mean,
I just record straight to the NVMe drive, and other than that, Adobe Premiere likes the RAM.
Oh, yeah, Adobe loves RAM. Not as much as Chrome, but
yeah.
Oh, I love hardware chat.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, I guess we'll do it unless anybody has any more questions or any other topics they want to talk about while we're here. I know Karma has to head out, but I got a little bit of time before my gaming session tonight. So,
are you planning anything big when workshop comes?
Not at the moment, no. It would be just a case of get the mod working with it, and then I'll worry about anything else after the fact.
Oh, well, here's a somewhat related question. Have any of you like put mods out on Workshop?
Yes.
All right. What's the process for that?
Mine was RimWorld, so it was just make mod and then click upload to Workshop.
Oh, really? So, okay. That's interesting because I've never done that. Like I have Arma, I have the standalone DayZ, I have Conan Exiles that all use Workshop content, and I was just curious what it was to like actually upload a mod to the Workshop. So it's just basically upload this and then it's available.
Yeah, on RimWorld, it works the same way 7 Days to Die. So you got a mods folder,
Mm-hmm.
So you make your mod in that, and then it's all working, everything, you go into developer mode, which is just in the options. And then there's if you've got all your mod info and everything done, there's just an upload to workshop button, and you just click that and it does it.
Yeah, I know it'll be much easier to get players to download mods once there's workshop support. And maybe
Hopefully.
you
Oh yeah.
can, and hopefully people stop fucking using Nexus.
Yeah.
Yeah,
God.
we had someone looking for help, and he had a mod, and I don't remember what it was. I'm like, where'd you get that? And he's like, Nexus, and I'm like, bleh. Oh, there it is. What's it? He's like, does anyone have used the CPPS mod, which I've never heard of? And I'm like, said that. He's like, it's a prestige skills mod. All right. I'm like, where'd you find it? He's like, Nexus mods. I'm like, eh.
Yeah, the one I always get is people on Nexus. It's like, oh, I installed the mod with the Nexus launcher and it doesn't work. And it's like, that's because the Nexus launcher doesn't work with overhauls, which is why there's no main Vortex mod tick. Don't use it.
Yeah, it's like, no, Nexus bad. Okay. Okay.
And then they shout at me going, oh, well, fix it. It's like, no, because for one, I don't use the Nexus launcher, which is Vortex. And for another, as far as I understand it, they have to fix it. Nothing to do with me. Go install it manually. It's not hard.
I always point
You
people.
made like a nice little 5-minute video for it.
Yeah, exactly.
I always point people to Sphere's, mod launcher. I'm like, if you want a mod, go here. If it's not on there, go to the forums.
Pretty much.
Because that's the way to do it. I mean, like, it was a while before I used his mod, and I found it, the mod launcher, and I looked at it more recently, and he made it in Unity. I'm like, this is cool as shit. Not that the other one, not that the other one wasn't bad or anything, but it was like a basic white girl, and this is like, yeah. So, yeah, I guess we'll wrap up.
That sounds good. I ran out of coffee.
Oh yeah,
Nice meeting you all.
You too.
Nice
Feel free to
meeting you.
Yeah.
You too.
Yeah, come back anytime. We do this show usually monthly, unless I forget.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what was it, February we missed out on?
Yeah, February's a short month.
Yeah, I didn't have the extra, 2 to 3 days to remember, oh shit, we need to do this.
It was a leap drain.
It was. Yep.
Let's see. Next year's a leap year. If we're still doing this next year, we should definitely plan one for the 29th. Even if it's in the week or something. But yeah, Khaine, again, thanks for coming on and spending your time with us and not recording that video, so all your followers will be mad at us.
That's fine. I'll do it tomorrow. I'm probably going to have a cup of tea and then go to bed anyway, because I was up at 3 a.m.
Yes, that was me the other night. I went to bed early and then I woke up at 2 and then could not get back to sleep.
That's what I did yesterday. It was like, I feel like crap. I'm going to go to bed and then I'll just have a nap or something. And I woke up and it was 3 in the morning and I went, shit.
Yes. That was a hell of a nap.
Yeah. I actually went to bed for 8 hours and woke up going, what happened? Oh, fuck.
Been there. Definitely been there. So, this will end our March 2023 episode 21 of The Brain Drain with special guest Khaine. Fortunately, he didn't tell anybody to fuck off, which is unusual and out of character for him.
I'm going to tell you to fuck off later.
Oh, you can tell me to fuck off anytime. So, again, thanks for showing up. OC, Toxic Hollywood, thanks for stopping by. And unfortunately, we missed our Aussies, and Bad Player couldn't make it because he had to go fucking bowling.
Not even blacklight bowling.
No, fucking bowling. What kind of fucking loser is he? But I guess that's all they do
Guy
up
who's
in
going
Maine.
to D&D.
D&D requires actual friends. Bowling, you can go by yourself.
What?
You can.
Yeah,
You can go. You
and
can
drink.
go by yourself. It's called practice.
Yeah.
So, I will see everybody hopefully next month, as long as I remember, and we'll see if we can wrangle another special guest up. So, until then, don't get eaten.
Indeed.
Thanks, everyone.